Well, I tell you what, L, look, I give up, okay? When it comes down to Steph Curry, the light-skinned brother with the green eyes, I finally bow down to him, okay? He is him.
We one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. This gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2-3. 1, 2, 3. Finish.
You ready to make history? Come on now. Yeah. You know, there's these two words. And when I say them, people get goosebumps because they know what happens next. So without further ado,
Free smoke.
look. Scared cause I'm drowning in silence with bad thoughts. These days I don't have nothing to say, man, the bag talks. I put in headphones on my driver. Pull up to the spot and give a good dick and Godiva. I can't lie, I'm uninspired. No more pillow talking about nonsense. I only stick around to put some band-aids on my conscience. I don't know why I feel so bad, nigga. That's what we do, no foundation. We don't build no more, we just screw. Half a bottle of Henny, girl, I'm going with the wind. The same niggas say they happy for me, ain't want me to win. So I'm done on my friends. Don't need help popping Coronas and reminiscing. I just call up Big Bro J and say it's time for venting. If I live forever, I hold this hate for some centuries. You don't know how much or how you doing would have meant to me, but motherfuck all that. I don't even offer up the time to make the call back. Stupid Lodo, if they don't get the picture now, man, I crop them out of the photo. I can't relate to my peers. Been doing this shit for years. I'm motivated by fears. I took the wheel and I steer. My sound not dictated by fuck boys in Atlanta. Stay gifted like this album was ghost written by Santa. Boss forever like they decided to throw me under slammer. Every song's a hit like they picture me underhanders. I could drop a million songs, but they never gon' understand us. Soapbox sermons for niggas never giving chances. Fight our whole lives to get these weak ass advances. Work twice as hard for the shit that they getting handed. And this ain't even nothing we chose, nigga, we branded. Still can't tell why all of these niggas mad at me. I'm trying to get 100 so I can put my team on salary. Give it all to the art, man, I turn my life to a gallery. Man, damn, what a fucked up masterpiece. 1,100 shots and I swear, man, I felt them all. If we ain't even good on our blocks, man, who can we call? Pre-decline state of mind, we broke crabs in the barrel. Got us fighting our folk, man, this shit just a life of peril.
Good morning, guys. I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring for good. I know the process was a pretty big deal last time, so when I woke up this morning, I figured I'd just press record and let you guys know first. So I won't be long-winded. Like, you only get one super emotional retirement essay, and I used mine up last year. So really thank you guys so much, to every single one of you, for supporting me, my family, my friends, my teammates, my competitors. I could go on forever. There's too many. Thank you guys for allowing me to live my absolute dream. I wouldn't change a thing. Love you all.
Welcome to you. Welcome to Kicking It with Saint. Yo, how's everybody doing out there tonight, yo? I'm doing pretty good. The itching has started. When I start recording, the last couple times I didn't hit the record button. I'm also drinking pre-workout throughout the entirety of the show. So I want to say like the last 15, 20 minutes, sometimes 30, I'm itching all over. If you take pre-workout, you know what I'm talking about. But nonetheless, Jimmy G is officially a Las Vegas Raider. Is it a good move? Is it a bad move? Will it make a difference? Won't it make a difference? We are here to talk. I was going to say who knows, but that's not what we mean to say. We're here to find out. I'm here to talk about that. So let's discuss. What does Jimmy G signing with the Raiders mean? Now, excuse me. I'm always interested to listen to people talk about Jimmy G, because you got really three type of people who talk about Jimmy G. The people who actually watch Jimmy G, the people who don't watch him but watch stats and highlights, and the ones who just they watch Jimmy G. So actually, let me redefine it. You got the ones who watch Jimmy G and know what Jimmy G is. They understand what Jimmy G is. They're not saying he trash. They're not saying he great, but they understand what Jimmy G is. You got those who don't watch Jimmy G and they blow up what Jimmy G is because they metric, you know, the Saber metrics, the advanced analytics and all that crap they use to say Jimmy G is this and that. And then you got the ones who watch Jimmy G and just completely hate him. They can't stand him. They think he is not him the person, but they just don't think he's a good quarterback. And somewhere you fall in between sometimes. So the way I feel about Jimmy G, I done said this multiple times on the show. I like Jimmy G and I understand what Jimmy G is as a quarterback. But I like Jimmy G, to be honest with you. I don't think Jimmy G a bad quarterback. Now, do I think Jimmy G is a franchise quarterback? Absolutely not. And you got those bozos out there who will use the metrics, the stats and all these nonsense stats to try to tell you that Jimmy G is this winning quarterback and yada, yada, yada. Cal didn't win without him. And bro, Jimmy G in Kyle Shanahan's system is a good quarterback. He put up good numbers at times. But he was never the driving force behind that team. It just is what it is. The thing that held them back all these years is that they didn't have a quarterback. They got to a Super Bowl with Jimmy G. Jimmy G couldn't make the necessary throws to win that game. The fact of the matter is, when you look at Jimmy G's career while he been in San Fran, it's been a good career, but he haven't played as many games as you like him to play. People say Lamar injury prone. Jimmy G ain't played a full season. I think he got one full season behind his belt. Other than that, he ain't put together a full season for you. Lamar Jackson been hurt to end the last 2 seasons and put together 3 full healthy seasons before that. Jimmy G done been hurt damn near every year of his career. So you can't rely on him because he is an injury prone quarterback. But when you look at other things in his career in San Fran, he had a phenomenal supporting cast. The stats in the playoffs is just far below average of what you would want your franchise quarterback to be. It just is what it is. And I like Jimmy G. Jimmy G to me reminds me of an Alex Smith. He not going to ruin the game for you a lot of times, even though you know what? Actually, he don't remind me of Alex Smith. He kind of remind me of Ryan Fitzpatrick / Alex Smith, because Jimmy G is a game manager at a time. Jimmy G at his best is a game manager, but Jimmy G at his worst and on his regular days is like one of the worst sides of Ryan Fitzpatrick. You got turnovers. You're not really knowing what you're going to get. He not going to make the necessary throws. Like he ain't got the strongest arm. I understand all the negatives. And the thing that I think hurt Jimmy G is that the positives are only positives in some people's eyes because of Kyle Shanahan. And if you listen to the show, you know how I feel about Kyle Shanahan. And I have to agree with those people. Just why, and you know, one thing that I don't like is so I was watching a show today, and he was talking about I can't remember the name of the show, but he was talking about the eye test and how, you know, some people will he do other things because he don't like sabermetrics and all the analytics and all that crap either, because he think, and he said to counter his eye test, he'll do, because sometimes he wrong. I don't think the eye test is wrong. I think the problem is people try to avoid the eye test because they don't watch full games anymore. They have a biasness built in, or they develop biasness based on teams and players and organizations. And people just don't understand what they're watching at times because they don't sit down and watch full games. They'll sit down and watch only their team, but they won't watch nothing else and try to tell you that they know the sport. When clearly, when you listen to a lot of these fans talk, they don't know what they're watching. It's very clear, in my opinion. Quick second. But nonetheless, when you break down the Jimmy G, the interesting thing to me about Jimmy G, because I said you don't have the weapons and the team around him that you had, because I don't like it when people try to act like Jimmy G carried San Fran. I'm okay with you giving Jimmy G credit because I give Jimmy G credit. But to act like he carried this franchise is ridiculous to me. That's why I really don't like it when people say, well, you know, they win when they got him. Yeah, you should win when you have your starting quarterback, because that's who you spent, who get all the reps and whatnot. It should be harder to win without him. Now, some people be like, well, look at Brock Purdy. He came in and won. It's a two-sided coin for Jimmy G, which just tells you it's not a great argument. When the Ravens don't have Lamar, they lose. When the Bengals don't have Burrow, they lose. When when Pat Mahomes ain't playing for KC, they lose. Josh Allen they lose. This ain't those teams where you could just plug in another quarterback that's of low caliber and get the same results, especially when you don't have that type of team around the quarterback that you have in San Fran, considering you don't have to pay the quarterback an exorbitant amount of money. And so while I like Jimmy G, I think Jimmy G probably a good dude. Now, they said that Jimmy G, a report had came out that said Jimmy G, after he got paid, he didn't work hard no more. Like, he wasn't really for the studying and all that shit. I think it's very interesting that story don't never come out about Jimmy G till he finally offered a team. But look at all the different athletes, specifically the receiving position, where that constantly come out about receivers. So I just think that's very interesting. But the Raiders do not have the team that San Fran has. They don't draft like San Fran. Like, that's the first biggest thing. They do not draft anywhere near as good as San Fran draft. Point blank, period. They clearly don't develop like San Fran. So they don't have the culture that San Fran got, and they don't have the coaching that San Fran got. Like, people keep trying to make Josh McDaniels out to be some offensive guru, and I don't agree with that shit whatsoever. Whereas Kyle Shanahan is legitimately an offensive guru. Now, some people might say, well, Jimmy G going to have Josh Jacobs, a great run game. But what I would argue is Josh Jacobs, as much as I like him, he's not a great running back on a year-to-year basis. Will he put up the year he had this year, next year? Who knows? You can't guarantee that. Now, Devontae Adams, how I feel about Devontae. I actually don't know what Devontae's season will look like this year with Jimmy Garoppolo, because while I do not, some people are saying, is Jimmy G better than Derek Carr? Now, while I don't think either of these two quarterbacks is franchise quarterbacks as far as like carrying franchises, but if you want to say they franchise quarterbacks because they play for the team for a long time, sure, have at it. But it's really a wash of an argument, because I don't think it's a significant difference in either of the two to really matter. Which is why I don't think this trade or this signing does anything for the Raiders. If anything, the Raiders are going to finish last in that division. You got the worst quarterback in the division, the most injury-prone quarterback in the division. Probably the most injury-prone player in the division is now Jimmy G, the quarterback of a team in the division with three other good quarterbacks, one being the best quarterback in football. I just don't know how you expect Jimmy G, which is why it's hilarious to me that all these teams don't want Lamar Jackson. But I understand why these teams won't go after Lamar right now. To me, it make more sense to go after Lamar next year, not this year. To me, this year, Lamar Jackson play on that franchise tag, which I'm pretty sure he'll do. Ball out, hopefully get a full year of health. He not going to have no more receivers, so he going to have to be Superman once again, because the Ravens ain't going to go out and get him no talent at the receiving position. And you just got to hope after he ball out, bet on himself. Next year, there will be interest in Lamar Jackson. I can almost guarantee you that, because the Ravens, for one, the franchise tag, the regular franchise tag will then be close to $50 million. They didn't want to give him the exclusive franchise tag because it was $45 million. It's going to be close to that or higher than that next year. So next year, he will definitely have offers and people beating down his door to try to get him, because they know for a fact if a contract's not met next year, the Ravens have to trade him at that point, because they can't franchise tag him 2 years. I mean, after two, they can't franchise tag him for a third time. So, it's very interesting to me, the teams that go out and get these quarterbacks that we just know these quarterbacks won't make a difference. And the thing that's funny to me about the AFC, for one, the Raiders are not a good team. Like, they have a lot of holes in their roster. But then you look at the AFC specifically and you say, it's very easy to say if a quarterback come to this team, it's quick to know if it's going to make a difference or not, because Lamar Jackson led team, Pat Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. This ain't a conference that's got no quarterbacks. This ain't a conference that's only got two quarterbacks. So, hey, you could get a good team and luck up and beat one. No, it's a lot of good Every year in the AFC for the next couple years, there will probably be every team in that conference will be a good quarterback-led team. Justin Herbert in there, Trevor Lawrence in there. And you telling me Jimmy G is going to make a huge difference for the Raiders? I can't agree with that. I can't buy that. I can't buy into that. I don't believe that. No shot. And when I look at the Raiders, they need help at the offensive line. They need help at the they just traded away Darren Waller and you know, I feel bad for Darren Waller because like I said, people don't understand what this type shit is to athletes, having to get up and move your life across the country, because this man, Darren Waller just got married to his now wife, Kelsey Plum of the Las Vegas Aces in the WNBA. Both of them lived in Vegas. Now Darren Waller will have to up and move to New York. And now imagine how easy life was for him living in Vegas with his wife, who also lived in Vegas. And now he got to move across to New York or New Jersey. We're no longer in Vegas. That's tough. And that's from the West Coast to the East Coast. Like, that's tough. But and so you lose Darren Waller. Devontae Adams, obviously you still have him. I'm not a fan of none of the other receiving positions, to be completely honest with you, on the team. You know how I feel about Hunter Renfrow. I can't depend on Josh Jacobs to put together another great year. I don't see how this really make a difference for the Raiders. And I don't think Josh McDaniels is a good head coach. I think this will be a rough year for the Raiders because, for one, the defense, you still need help defensively. You need a defensive line. You got to hope Chandler Jones have a rebound year after last year. You got to hope Max Crosby come back and have yet another great year, even though because of so many holes in the Raiders team, they should have traded Max Crosby this offseason. Now, I think they'll probably do it next offseason because of how bad this team will probably be. Because I'm telling you right now, the Raiders are going to be a bad team by the end of next year. It's no way you thought you was going to be good with Derek Carr, and now you think you're going to be good with a lesser than team with Jimmy G. It's just not going to happen. And I fuck with Jimmy G. But the reality is, it's no way a Jimmy G led team is getting with. And this is not Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers organization with all those players. This ain't that. This is a Raider team who legitimately over the last couple years shown you they can't draft. They don't know how to identify talent. So to me, and for the life of me, I can't understand why, if you a team, I don't understand giving certain quarterbacks contracts when you know those quarterbacks. Like, I'm hearing that the Bucks might try to go sign Baker Mayfield to be a starter next year. What? That don't even make sense. Like, somebody, and you really believe that no team is going to eventually go after Lamar Jackson? Come on, man. Don't be stupid, bro. Don't be stupid. You keep believing everything the media say, bro. One of these teams is going to go after Lamar Jackson, bro. Every team in the NFL not stupid, bro. Whether it be this year or next year, Lamar Jackson won't be a Raven if they don't eventually give him what he wants. People keep saying that he has no leverage and he playing a stupid game. The Ravens legitimately have a time frame on how long they can. The Ravens' only way they win this is hoping that he play bad. The Ravens legitimately have to hope Lamar Jackson play bad or get hurt so they don't have to pay him and nobody else want to give him a big contract. Because if Lamar Jackson go out and play like Lamar Jackson, the Ravens know they're going to lose him. You already done pissed him off. You already won't offer him what he should be offered. You're going to lose him. They know this. They are hoping Lamar play bad, that he keep getting hurt. That's what they hoping. They hoping he become injury prone. You notice they haven't went out and got him no talent around him. They're not in a rush to put talent around him on the offensive side of the ball. They show you that every year. So, hey, who knows who might be in the market for a quarterback next year? Because it's just, to me, the Jimmy G thing is, like I said, as much as I like Jimmy G, you know, it's just I cannot see a success with and it's not really just because of Jimmy G. For one, Jimmy G need talent around him, for one. And it's not just talent. He need a great infrastructure around him. On top of that, you got to pray that he can get you through a whole 17 games. On top of that, like I said before, this Raider team is much like the Giants team, in my opinion. And they have good pieces here or there, but the majority of the team need a lot of reconstruction done to it. And that's the Raiders. And you sit back and you look and you say to yourself, man, you know, people talk about how the Rams went all in to win a Super Bowl and yada, yada, yada. I would argue the Rams is closer to getting back to a Super Bowl right now than the Raiders. And the Raiders have yet to go all in for a Super Bowl. The Raiders haven't done what the Rams have done for a Super Bowl. But look at how ugly a position you're in if you're the Raiders. You're not terrible. You also not good. So you stuck in the middle, having to hope you hit your draft picks in the middle because you never drafted high enough to strike gold in the draft. It sucks to be mediocre in the NFL. You need to either be trash or great. It's no in between, because if you're in between, you're bad. That's the real bad in the NFL. And not only that, when you stuck in that position and your organization is not really ran as good as some of these other organizations, these are the type of things that happen. I can make an argument with you right now. The Raiders trading for Devontae Adams last year was fucking stupid. Because to believe that Derek Carr to believe that he would have been saved because of Devontae Adams when you had good receivers there for him already, you seen what his max is over the last, and you still made that decision knowing if this don't work out, we got to find a way to rebuild this entire roster. And we're going to probably have to trade Devontae. We probably going to have to trade Waller. We probably going to have to trade. See, I think what they're going to try to do with Josh Jacobs is try to trade him mid-season if he having a good season. Because they also going to have to try to find a way to trade Max Crosby either mid-season or at the end of the season next year. Because it's no way that after they finish this season, because they will finish with a bad team once again, and it'll be worse this year because I think a lot of teams got better and I don't think they did. Now, as you got worse and you have a worse quarterback, now you will probably have a chance to get a top draft pick. So to me, when I look at the Raiders, did the Jimmy G signing help? Absolutely not. And I like Jimmy, like I said, but you have to look at everything around the Raiders in the AFC right now. Jimmy G on another team in the NFC, maybe it'd do more for my soul than him in the AFC. The AFC a gauntlet right now. He just not that type of quarterback that can rise above the quarterbacks he gonna have to play on a regular basis, especially to get to the promised land. And Jimmy G is not getting coached by Kyle Shanahan right now. I'm just saying. And so shout out to Jimmy G for getting it. And I think they even signed Jacoby Brissett, who could end up playing games this year too. Like, I don't understand what the Raiders are doing. You explain to me how a dude with the resume of Lamar Jackson, because I'm not arguing with you bozos who keep trying to say Lamar Jackson bad. A franchise quarterback with Lamar Jackson, and you sign, instead of going after him, you sign Jimmy G and Jacoby Brissett. That's just fucking stupid. Like, it's no two ways around. Now, I understand it's not smart to do the Lamar thing right now because you got to wait 5 days. Baltimore can screw you because if he signed with you, they can wait 5 days and then still match the contract. I get all that. But what I'm saying is to give them two dudes contracts and to think that Lamar Jackson don't deserve the money he should be getting, it's just buffoonery. That's why I hate when the fans talk, bro. Y'all say some of the stupidest shit. You're constantly telling players that they don't deserve the money they get and they should take pay cuts just for your own entertainment because you want them to stay on good teams that you like and shit like that. Like, fans get on my nerves so much, bro. Y'all such hypocrites. You're evil, basically, with the mindset that y'all display on a constant basis, bro. I'm telling you, this is why I love it that players got to go out there and get all the money they can possibly get. But as far as the Raiders, I think it's going to be a long season, a miserable season. Who knows if Josh McDaniels even survive at the end of this season, to be completely honest with you. It could be a whole teardown at the end of the season next year because of how bad I think the team is. But I think they'll end up trading Devontae, and I think they'll end up trading Max Crosby either at the beginning of the season, or midpoint of the season, or at the end of next year. Because there's no way that come on, man. The AFC is too good right now, bro. And they not good enough, especially with all the holes. They're going to have to find a way to acquire a lot of draft picks over the next couple year or so. Because it's a lot of rebuilding that got to be taking place with this Raiders team. This Raiders team is just not good enough. It's point blank period. And what's funny is I was going to say they hanging on by a thread, but they really not. They exactly in the worst spot you could possibly be in. The middle of the pack, like I said. Being at the back of the line is not the worst. Neither is being in the front. Being in the middle of the line is the worst. Point blank, because being in the back means you're going to get a great pick. Being in the front means you one of the best teams in the league. Being in the middle means you hoping, you praying that you nail these picks, and that's not what the Raiders have done. So I don't see much success in the Raiders' future, but hey, good luck to the Raiders this year. With that being said, however, I appreciate you for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. You could be anything in the world. Choose to be kind to somebody today. Saint out.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, she know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy. Scoop her up like I'm raking or something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber. You out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.